Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me, I am fully fueled, primed, and ready to put the pedal to the metal. So let's roll the intro and let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It's Monday, the 15th of November, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, Michael Gove apologises for a Grenfell gaff. Delicate demolition removes the Windscale chimney from the Cumbrian skyline. The HMRC has confirmed there will be no tax relief on HVO fuels. And Hyundai joins the Squid Game. We'll get to all of that in just a second, but first, let's pause a while to see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days.
Happy birthday!
And it's many happy returns to former British Prime Minister William Pitt the Elder, to German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, to singer Petula Clark, and to pro wrestler Macho Man Randy Savage. But far more importantly, happy birthday to drummer Tony Thompson, the man who kept the beat for Chic, LaBelle, and the Power Station, among many others. Many happy returns to them, one and all. The Housing Secretary has apologised for leaked reports about Grenfell Tower being prepared for demolition and vowed that the tragedy-hit community will be consulted about the building's future. In September, the Sunday Times reported that ministers were set to announce the demolition of the tower 4 years after a deadly blaze that claimed 72 lives. It said there were safety concerns, with structural engineering experts unambiguously and unanimously advising that the remains of the block be carefully taken down. But in a letter published in the same newspaper on Sunday, Housing Secretary Michael Gove said he was truly sorry for the tremendous and justified upset the report would cause survivors, the bereaved, and the West London community. The Cabinet Minister said, "I make no criticism of the Sunday Times decision to report this story, which came from government sources. However, the news caused tremendous and justified upset to many of those bereaved by the Grenfell tragedy, many who survived it, and many who live in the local area. I am truly sorry on behalf of the government that it ever should have occurred. As the new Secretary of State for Housing, I write to make clear that I will take a different approach. Any decision on the future of the tower will be communicated not through anonymous briefings, but directly and respectfully to those affected." Sadly, the fact that it's taken almost 2 months for the government to apologise for its lack of sensitivity over the initial leak is pretty much indicative of its handling of tragedies in the wider scheme of things. Let's not forget that the tragedy unfolded back in June 2017, and that inquiry remains ongoing. Likewise, the Didcot Power Station disaster that claimed the lives of 4 demolition workers remains unexplained almost 6 years on. If you would like some actual genuine insight into the Grenfell disaster and its immediate aftermath, I will continue to recommend the book Dangerous Structure by Paul Ford. Just go to dangerous-structure.com to get a copy. I'll be back to the subject of all things bookish a little bit later in the show.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
Anyone hoping that HVO fuels might be granted the same level of tax relief as red diesel had those hopes dashed on Friday. A guidance note from HM Revenue and Customs confirms that from the 1st of April 2022, red diesel and rebated biofuels will no longer be allowed to be used. It also confirms that biodiesels and hydro-treated vegetable oil, or HVO, will be given no special tax treatment to encourage their use, even though they cause substantially less pollution. They will be taxed at the same rate as white diesel. Frustratingly for those in the demolition and construction sectors, the HMRC note confirms that agriculture, horticulture, fish farming and forestry sectors will still be allowed to use rebated red diesel. So even with the promises of COP26 still ringing in our ears, the government is offering no incentive to encourage the use of a cleaner fuel source for the construction industry, an industry that, let us not forget, is regularly singled out for its environmental impact. And setting aside the environmental implications, what of the more immediate cost implications? When the government pulls the plug on rebated red diesel in April next year, businesses in the construction industry that currently enjoy the 47 pence per litre tax rebate will have to switch to ordinary white diesel tax at the full rate. That means they will be paying 5 times as much in fuel duty, as they do today. Switching to white diesel or HVO will significantly increase costs, and of course, those costs will either have to be absorbed or more likely passed on to the customer. Look, I fully understand the desire to replenish the nation's coffers after they were so savagely depleted by COVID and the furlough scheme. But all of this just seems counterintuitive to me. Boris Johnson clearly saw the construction industry as the nation's saviour when he declared that we would build back better. And yet, at the first opportunity, his government has chosen to penalise the very industry with a five-fold increase in fuel duty. Perhaps worse is the fact that the government had the opportunity to encourage the construction and demolition industries to make a key environmental switch, but has chosen not to do so. All of which makes the promises and commitments made during COP26 just ring a little bit hollow. Nuclear cleanup teams have removed the huge diffuser at the top of the Windscale pile chimney on the Sellafield site. The diffuser gave the 125-metre chimney its distinctive top-heavy appearance. It has loomed over the West Cumbrian landscape for nearly 70 years, but after 3 years of precision dismantling, it has now been cleared. The diffuser had to be cut up in situ more than 100 metres above the ground. Sections were then transported separately down to the ground. It required 200 moves to clear the entire block. Much of the work took place during the COVID-19 pandemic. Work is now taking place to remove a metal frame platform and reduce the access shaft. Following this, the work will start on demolishing the actual chimney barrel itself. The surgical demolition also removed the seismic risk associated with the chimney. Demolition work actually started back in December 2018. The first block was removed from the diffuser in January 2019. A total of 226 blocks have been removed from the top of the chimney stack, reducing the height of the stack by 15.42 metres. Each block weighed between 2 and 9 tonnes. The total weight of all 226 blocks was 1,232 tonnes. There's a button here. There we are. Now, you might remember, let me try that again. You might recall that I mentioned the subject of books during the Grenfell Tower report at the top of the show. And I promised to return to the subject. Well, here we are. On Wednesday at 6 p.m, I will be hosting a first for this channel, a live book review. Well, that's not strictly true. I will be going live and I will be talking about 7 industry books that you might like to consider as gifts or stocking fillers this Christmas. Now, I realise that it's still a bit early to be talking about all things festive, but there is a method in my madness. I have a cunning plan. Black Friday comes around again in just a few weeks' time, and as most of the books up for discussion are available on Amazon, there is every possibility that you might be able to bag a bargain. As you can see, the books up for discussion include Dangerous Structure, Emergency Response by Paul Ford, and Dr. Demolition by Dr. Terry Cornby himself. I will be attempting to review both of those, but I will also be telling the story behind 5 books of my own, what inspired them and how they came into existence. So if you're looking for industry-related gift ideas, if you want to take part in the discussion, or if there's simply nothing worth watching on the telly, then put that date in your diary, 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening this week. And if you're looking for something to read between now and then, I commend to you the new publication that we have produced with Dr. Terry Cornby. It charts the construction methods and materials through the Georgian, Victorian and Edwardian eras and finds that those buildings of the past were, in fact, more sustainable than those being built in the supposedly more enlightened modern era. Let me try that again. The more modern era. You can find a link to that publication in the chat. Can you find a link to that in the chat? You should be able to now. Yeah, go and give that a read. It really does make for very, very interesting reading, not least because, you know, post COP26, you know, everyone's talking about sustainability. Well, it turns out that we were doing things far, far better in the past than we are today. Go take a look. I will recommend that one for you. Walton Street in Oxford is soon to get a new mixed-use development comprising both housing and retail space. Almost 4 million of your finest English quids have been set aside to bring the project to fruition, and Edgar Taylor Construction has been given the nod on the construction portion of the works. But before they can start, several buildings at the St Paul's House site require partial demolition, and at the time of broadcast, a demolition contractor has yet to be appointed. You can find out more about this project lead and many more just like it over at buildersconference.co.uk.
Axoft and Svantec are your high-end partners for noise, vibration, dust and air quality systems, sensors and software. To find out more, visit axoft.co.uk or call 01234 639 550.
And finally, when it comes to marketing, timing really is everything. So we must tip our hats to the fine folks at Hyundai and their marketing team, who have embraced the global phenomenon of the Korean TV show Squid Game in the promotion of its dealer conference that is scheduled to take place later this week. Take a look at this.
Let the game begin.
Let's hope the outcome for Hyundai's dealer network is better than it was for most of the participants in the original Squid Game.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up today's show. I will be back here again tomorrow, usual time, usual place, for yet more of this old stuff and nonsense. And as I've just mentioned, I will also be back on Wednesday night to talk about all things book. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. But until then, stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.